Is music slowly becoming worthless? That's the video we're going to be reacting to right now by this guy, who I forgot the name of, but link in the description.
It would take you over 200 years without sleeping to listen to all the music that was just released last year. The supply of music keeps exploding, and the most basic principles of economics will tell you that the value of a song is constantly falling over time. So are we reaching a point where music is basically becoming worthless? Well, I think we're looking at this problem in the wrong way. For most of human history, all the value of music performances. Like in the 1600s, you had the first opera and concert halls. You had people that were willing to pay to see live performances. It wasn't until 1877 that Thomas Edison came out and dropped the phonograph. That was the first piece of tech that could record and play back sound. So up until that point, there was no value in recorded music. That's because
the value in going to see a live show is still very much a thing today. And you can't really compare classical music to pop music, which was specifically designed because it's being recorded and recorded and edited to be broadcast as a listening medium rather than something that's recorded live just as live, you know, like a band or orchestra, or maybe sort of early bands, you know. Production versus raw just playing, they just can't compete. And the quality of those recordings, well, that technology wasn't good enough to actually capture what you could hear anyway, so
all the value was in live performances. Then it wasn't until a lot later in 1948 that Columbia Records introduced the long play vinyl record. Vinyl, then cassettes, then CDs, then MP3s, and now you have subscription-based streaming platforms. Each one of those advancements made it a lot easier to get music in the hands of more people. You had advancements in how people make music too. You had the invention of tape recording, and then multi-track recording, and then MIDI interfaces, and then digital audio workstations. And now there are even AI text-to-music models. So all of this tech has come to a point where I have a computer make a song for me and then click a few buttons to release that song.
If you just do like the Splice video I did, where the woman's basically just, I've got a loop. I just press a couple of buttons and take the bass line off of that. Press a couple of buttons and take the chords out of the loop. Paste, copy, click a few more buttons, production finished. Yeah, generic, boring, and yes, AI can just do that. It's just, you know, it's no different to what you can do already. And also MIDI generation tools, like AI generation tools, they're sort of no different from just randomly creating MIDI anyway, like drawing random MIDI. Move the mouse up and down in time and then just slap on the chord. You know, scale and chords correction, and that's it. I got myself some really nice random melodies that I didn't create really, other than just randomly drawing my hand. So is that really any different from AI? No.
Of users. If you told someone in the 1950s that was going to be possible, they'd think you were insane. And the stats that come along with all this new tech are crazy. Like in 1955, you had just 1,615 albums that were released in the US. And by 2008, you have 100,000 albums that were released.
Mostly generic rubbish to be sold to the widest common denominator, like all of these things. So music, you know, like, you know, different types of music and stuff. The most popular music is the most generic, widest, you know, the widest market to be, you know, given the most generic stuff, like Ed Sheeran using the same chords in every single tune, and all these other, you know, all these other artists use the same, you know, 4 chords in nearly every single song. It's all the same stuff. It's made the same, similar genres, so that when a DJ plays it, they can mix the 2 songs together and seamlessly, you know, make it easier for DJs to mix to get the song out there more in clubs and whatever. You know, it's basically supply the, you know, the most generic product to the widest market. It's not the best music, it's just, you know, generic. Do you think that now 50 and now now 61, whatever it's called, is the best music out there. No, it's just the most generic music that most people who listen to it don't really have a clue about music. They just listen to, oh, that sounds fun enough. They're going on the day, or they have in the background. It's nothing special there. But the thing you mentioned at the beginning about classical music and stuff like that still is special, and you can't get that on a CD. You go and see an orchestra live, you cannot ever capture that on CD, TV, video, whatever. Only way you can actually experience that properly is live. Something I've only done a few times in my life, sadly.
50-year window, you had a 62 times increase in the amount of music being released, and that's just the beginning of it. Since 2008, computers have gotten cheaper. It's gotten easier to make.
That my ability to emulate classical sounds and that cinematic music is something I do quite a lot of my music, especially with strings. And I have a specific video coming where I'm showing you how I make my strings from sampled instruments and make it sound as much as an orchestra as I can for my production. I used classical music samples in my hip hop early on, like 2006, 2007, and then later slowly used VSTs or other things, digital instruments or digital samplers that came with really nice sampled strings and stuff like that to actually make it sound real. And for most cases, because it's going to sound good, because I'm taking when I used to take the samples, I used to edit it and change around, chop it up, right? So what I end up with here when I do it, it just sounds, I try and emulate that sound as much as I can, and once the beat's laid around it, it sounds very similar to what the actual sample used to use would sound like with strings. When I've done my thing, they pretty much sound very similar in the context of a production.
And it's also gotten way easier to release and distribute music. So now instead of measuring albums per year, we measure songs per day. And at this point, the exact number is up for debate, but there are at least 100,000 songs per day being released now. But the value of that product is going to plummet over time. And I know this can seem super depressing as a musician, but we're not looking at the full picture. The value doesn't lie in the music itself. The value actually lies in the brand that the music is attached to. Let's say I have 10 house tracks and I release them under my name. Well, they're not going to be that valuable. But let's say I take those 10 same exact tracks and release them.
Again, it's supply and demand. Like I just said, it doesn't have to be the best music. It just has to be what can be supplied to the widest audience. And obviously, if you're someone more popular, that's going to happen, So, for example, let's say BigZ, he makes a tune, it's really, really good, right? And he releases it under his name, no one really cares, no one knows his name, yeah? So instead, he sells that tune, to Fisher here, let's say £10,000 on a lucky day. He's making it for a big artist with some royalties, or maybe no royalties, depends. So he gets that one-off payment of 10 grand, and then Fisher goes on and creates a number one with it when he releases it, because everyone knows who he is, because he's like a Bruno Mars style pop star. It happens quite a lot. A lot of these big tunes you hear is from somebody unknown, and then they sell that music to, or their producers sell that music to the more popular artist who doesn't make anything, and they just sing lyrics made by somebody else and get music made by somebody else and just go and dance around, put on a big show and all the rest of it. Look at me, like Dua Lipa sort of thing. It's the dancing and all the other stuff they do, like the big pop artist show. They don't actually have to be creative themselves. There are obviously, creative people who do music, like Sia, for example. She actually makes music and does music. She's not just a manufactured pop star. But that's a whole other thing. Let's continue.
Under Fisher's name, then it's going to be a different story. He can weave those tracks into his brand, promote them to his millions of followers, create a live concert experience around that collection of songs, sell merch, do brand partnerships. All of a sudden, those same 10 tracks are worth way more, not because of the music itself, but because of the valuable brand that Fisher has built over the years. In 2020,
the brand and selling You know, that's more important. Selling the brand and making a brand and the image and the pop image is more important to people who don't actually know what music is or what music's about. Oh, that's a nice catchy tune, like I said a minute ago. It's a nice catchy tune. Oh, I like that. Oh, I'm going to buy Now 55. It's got that Dua Lipa tune on it. Blah, 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 blah. It's just very generic music. There's nothing special there. You know, it's just, again, just music to appeal to the widest audience who don't know anything about music, to just, you know, to consume it. All you need is like 1,000 really, really true fans who care about you and your music and what you're doing. Being a pop star is another whole ball game, which really has very little to do with actually doing good music. But yeah.
23, Taylor Swift did over $1 billion in ticket sales. Her merch did over $240 million in sales. And her
Taylor Swift, right? You know, basically she just does generic music that sounds like everything else and talks about the same stuff. Oh, my love problems, my boyfriend, sort of teenage sort of things, like appealing to the widest, mostly teenage girl audience. Yeah, just talking about generic, you know, very, very childish sort of things. Oh, my boyfriend, oh, my love, like a 14-year-old girl. You know? Oh, my love. And she carries on doing that from a teenager and carries on doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over. I think she's like 40 something now, or somewhere around 40, and still talking like that. Yeah, it's just appealing to the widest demographic of young girls as long as possible.
concert film did over $260 million in the box office. That's how powerful a strong brand can be. Her music is just one part of her brand. She's also known as a songwriter who stands up for an artist's right to control their own work. She pulled her music from Spotify at one point. She's re-recorded albums to take back control of her music. That's all part of her brand identity and the values she stands for. You also have her personality, how she interacts with fans, her online presence, the live experiences she gives people at her shows.
And these are all things that her marketing team that she pays to do for her. She's not doing all this on her own. She just, you know, all she has to do really these days is just get up and sing and do a few public appearances and look good on camera. You know, all these other things, identity and values, but that's just something that PR team makes up for them and tells her what she should publish and what she shouldn't, to appeal to the widest demographic. Oh, don't say this about this this sort of person, or don't get involved in this politic here, otherwise, you know, oh, yeah. Or do get involved and it could create some controversy, you know. Personality, well, the personality you see of her is just an act that she puts on for the camera. It's not, you're not going to see what she really looks like. Then we got interaction with fans. Well, you know, that doesn't really matter half the time because most fans only care about the now. Yeah, like Justin Bieber fans. Every time I think of Justin Bieber, I remember him standing outside a hotel window with all the adoring fans underneath him. Oh, Justin Bieber, Justin Bieber. He hogged one up and then spat in them in the face. Yeah, that's every time I think of, that could have been years ago that happened, like maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, whatever it was. But that's the thing that sticks in my mind because I'm a critical thinker. And if I had a daughter and she wanted to go and see Justin Bieber, I'd be like, nah, you're not going to be a fan of Justin Bieber or like Justin Bieber. He likes to spit in people's faces. That's the kind of scum most of these artists are behind closed doors. Do a lot of PR stuff like this to kind of hide these dark aspects. But every now and again, these dark aspects of them come out. Yeah, and a lot of these pop stars do very similar things. Let's talk about Jay-Z, how he punched a fan in the face. That was also years ago, but I remember when Jay-Z punched a fan in the face. You know, interaction with fans. It's all just whatever's recorded and pushed out to the widest audience, because most people are not going to check in history because they just think about the now. And then we got the online presence. Well, obviously pop stars, you know, you could be on YouTube, the same as this guy said in the beginning about releasing a track by one unknown artist versus a known artist. Well, YouTube, you know, you can release your music on YouTube. No one cares who you are as a YouTuber, even if you had like 100,000 views. Not many people in the grand scheme of things really care who you are or what you're doing. But if you know, Taylor Swift comes on YouTube, and you know, and The Weeknd comes on YouTube, and Ed Sheeran comes on YouTube, they absolutely dominate the platform, getting millions or billions of views in a day, which one sort of well-done YouTuber would never get in a whole entire year. In fact, YouTube is paid for and run by pop music and pop TV and pop stuff, pop culture, movies and stuff like that, right? They dominate all these online spaces and these online platforms, social media. They absolutely dominate, take it over.
Or visual aesthetic. As the supply of this part, the music, becomes almost unlimited, then it's
visual aesthetics is normally sex appeal, or it's some sort of gimmick like deadmau5 with a big mask on the head. Oh, look at deadmau5, he's a DJ, but still, you know, look at that. Look, attention seeker. Look at me with my big mouse head. Wow, is the music you're playing good? Probably just the same as everything else, but because you've got a good marketing gimmick there. Also a bit like Sia with her stupid hair. You know, who doesn't know Sia with her stupid hair across her face and a big bow in the head and stuff like that, right? But ironically, Sia actually appears to be quite a nice person, rather than Justin Bieber gobbing people's face person. But yeah.
It's only natural that people are placing more and more value on this part. But you don't need to be Taylor Swift to take advantage of this. If you want to make a living as an artist, you just need to realize that you should be spending as much time on your brand as your music. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. Music as a hobby still has a lot of personal and emotional value. Like, I love making music. It makes me happy.
Everybody who's a hobbyist musician or hobbyist producer wants to make money. It's just something in their life is getting in the way of doing that. Or they don't have the support or whatever, but that's a whole other thing for another video.
Happy. That's not what this video is about. It's about the financial value of music. So we got to answer the question, is music becoming worthless? Well, the financial value of a single song is clearly going down over time, but the brand value of music is at the highest it's ever been, and it's gonna keep going up. So music isn't actually becoming worthless. The value is just flowing out of recorded music and into the strongest brands. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you.
Which has always been the way, especially ever since the 80s. That was an interesting video. Leave your comments in the comments section down below what you think of it. I expect this video to get 5 views because my brand is not well known, because my marketing skills are not good enough. But always time to improve. There's also an element I was going to say for another video, but I might as well just say it here. Do you have what it takes to actually be, you know, on camera and be a star or stuff like this? You know, I could do music, I could sing and all the rest of it, right? But what's the chances of me as a nearly, you know, late 30s man being able to get on stage and do all sorts of stuff and get it set up, get a marketing team and all the rest of it? I don't really see that's going to happen. So that's also an aspect of whether you're going to be an artist making music or somebody behind the scenes and doing music and trying to make money that way as a producer rather than being a direct artist. You know, I do feel that me as a late 30s person might be a bit late for that pop star thing, and I'm a bit funny about people like seeing me in the wrong light or looking at me funny, and you know, I don't like recording videos at home because I feel my neighbours can hear me because I can hear them, and I'm more concerned about that than actually just doing it and saying screw them, or just doing music and stuff like that anyway. You know, you won't find me singing my heart out at home because I'm like, oh goodness, my neighbour can hear me. But you know, maybe we'll save that for another video. But like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time for another video. Oh yeah.